Okay, day 28 of 365 days of meditation. I was up at about 2:15 this morning and meditated until about 4 a.m., about an hour and a half of sitting practice, and then about 15 minutes just lying on the ground, sort of integrating the practice and just sort of basking in the glory of it, if you will. Practice itself today was pretty powerful, definitely emotionally charged. I went back to explore a little bit about how I want to prioritize the activities and the way in which I spend my time in my life, and that's sort of tied into procrastination yesterday. So I was feeling anxious yesterday. I was feeling anxious more and more as the day went on, and this morning that sense of anxiety as I explored how I want to, live my life, what my life would be like if I lived sort of prioritizing the things that were the most important to me, at least right now, are most important to me, and what my life would look like if I did that. And anyway, I sort of explored that and the procrastination that occurred, and I started feeling the anxiety well up and well up and well up, and so I just sat with it and decided that I'd make space for it and just be with it. Not the mantras, I guess, were along the lines of during it, like this is fine, this is a normal experience. I welcome this sensation, this emotion, this feeling. Just kind of making space and being okay with the fact that I was feeling quite anxious. And inevitably, as I sat there, the tears started to well up, and then, sobbing and just a full release, the whole body lighting up. It was interesting that the body was lighting up, and that same sort of electrical charge feeling through the nervous system. And as I was sitting there kind of sobbing, the body was just lit up, and I was eventually rocking back and forth, and my teeth were doing this chattery thing. It's happened to me before, where they just kind of chatter as I'm in tears. I don't know what that is or why. Probably some nervous system related thing. It's almost like when you see somebody really cold and the teeth are just chattering away. So that was probably a good half-hour emotional exorcism. Felt really, really good after that, for sure. Felt great for the rest of the day. Just kind of flushed all the gunk out of my system, out of my psyche. And it was interesting because I had listened to some information recently related to mental health, and how a lot of it is just around, everyone has these thoughts that are disturbing or undesirable. Everyone feels anxious from time to time or down from time to time, and really the way in which we are sort of interpreting those body signals, the way we're interpreting our own thoughts, is really what leads to that greater levels of stress or anxiety, and sort of a snowball effect where we're focusing on what we don't want, and essentially getting more of it. It's karma, and karma in the real sense, not in the sense of what we think of karma in the West, which is, if you do something, it'll come back around and get you. Karma actually is whatever you think, say, or do, you will get more of. And it's very true. If you start thinking certain thoughts, especially ones you don't want, you will start thinking them more, and the more you think, the easier they will be to think, and the more you'll think them. And same with your behaviors. So it's kind of the idea that obsessive thoughts or behaviors, especially ones that aren't good, will eventually sort of bite us in the ass because they'll spiral out of control. So yeah, that was today's practice. It was really great. One last thing I wanted to mention, in terms of if anyone's interested in getting into a meditative practice but wants to sort of think about it or look at it from the scientific perspective maybe a little more. I've been watching a few videos lately, interviews with John Kabat-Zinn, and he's kind of, I don't know, we'll call it like a granddaddy of mindfulness, at least in the Western world. He kind of started doing scientific-based research, looking at mindfulness for treatment of things like chronic pain, disease, etc. I think he started in the 70s, so really a pioneer in the field in terms of marrying mindfulness and meditative practices with their effects on our psychology and physiology as well, and eventually biology. So looking at epigenetics and gene expression and how our mental state affects our gene expression. So yeah, I'll link to maybe an article or a blog of his, an interview of his that was interesting if you want to check out his stuff. I think he has a lot of books as well. I might pick one up and read it. But yeah, that's it for today. In closing, if you're struggling at all with your mental health, talk to somebody. Here I am 28 days in. I've been talking to who's ever listening for the last 28 days, posting these videos out into the ether. And, it's cathartic in a way to just, whatever is on your mind, get it off your chest. It feels easier the more I do it. And, not just in video format, but talking to people generally about mental health, the more I do it, the easier it is. It was definitely terrifying for me the first time. I know that it was terrifying me the first time I told anyone about it. It was terrifying for me, the second, third, fourth time I told anyone about it, telling friends about it, colleagues, etc. Even to this day, I haven't really talked much with my family about it, but sure, I'll get to that at some point. But, first time I talked to a mental health professional, clinical counselor, when I was in a trial, it was terrifying as well to sign up for it. So my experience has been, whenever I do it, I'm always grateful that I did. It always ends up being very positive. So, I can't promise anything, but I'm sure it would help the majority of people as well. Anyway, that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed the video, and take care of yourself. Have a good evening.